Ladies and gentlemen, hello! My name is Story and I welcome you to Guardian Hot Seat. This is a series we have here at Planet Destiny that entails inviting a community member over for an interview. In this week's show we have HaydnOSmith. Hayden is a Destiny raid Sherpa based on Xbox One and happens to be among the very best there is. Now, if you've yet to complete a raid or fancy getting into one of Hayden's raid teams when Age of Triumph is released later on this month, stay tuned for all the Twitch channel details and whatnot. If you want to skip straight ahead and subscribe and go and check him out, then you can have a look in the description right now.
And obviously with the new update coming up soon, that's going to make it a lot better for me, given that a lot of old players are going to be jumping back in and needing to get that done. So I am their saviour, I suppose, for all the people that can't find friends. I do play PvP occasionally. It's not my cup of tea normally, but I stick to PvE on sort of a daily basis. That's my bedrock.
You've 150 completions. That is crazy. I mean, how over what time period is that?
That's, I mean, since it dropped, we being part of legitimate raid team with Arex and Willis, we had to be on the Wrath of the Machine the moment it dropped. We were going for sort of world's first or just exploring it basically when it first came out. Sometimes we focus on a full completion day where we will just grab, normally it's a 3 and a 3. We have me, TVNV and Zupa. We are the sort of carriers. I don't like referring it as carriers. It sort of alienates sort of alienates my viewers. I don't like that. But as the experienced players, we will say. And then we get 3 viewers in, and we'll do days where we do full completions, where we'll normally have maybe 4 or 5. And then dependent on what challenge mode it is, sometimes we will focus directly just on Access Challenge. And days like that where we maintain a checkpoint and just keep doing that checkpoint alone. Given that everything runs smoothly, we can get anywhere from about 6 to 10 completions if the demand is high enough.
That's crazy. That's a really effective yield for a single, sit down, I'm going to stream, bang, get that done. And how long do you usually stream for?
I aim for 3 hours at least.
The next question would be, with all the 4 raids being brought up to current light levels and being thrown back into the current Destiny universe, is there anything in particular with Age of Triumph that you're looking forward to?
I specifically, quite weirdly, am looking forward to Crota more than anything. Obviously, we all know Crota being known as the glorified strike at this point in time, based on the fact that it's cheesable in multiple locations. I'm looking forward to them having fixed that, being able to actually run Crota as the raid that it's meant to be. A lot of people haven't experienced it, and I'm looking forward to running people through it, the people that came in year 1, people that are joined up later in year 2. There's loads of people that still haven't experienced it the way it was supposed to be played, and given now that hopefully, fingers crossed, they've blocked out all of the cheesy spots and glitch methods and stuff like that, I'm hoping that we can do it properly.
No corner cutting on your watch. Well, that's great then. So it's Crota's End is the prime look forward to kind of point from that.
Yes, I believe so.
In all the hundreds of thousands of hours of raid Sherpa-ing that you've been doing, have you had any really unique or highly memorable occasions?
One that stands out would be, I can't remember his gamer tag. So he'd just started playing Destiny. This was about a month ago. He'd just started playing, and I think his light was about 345 or 350 or something. And he put his name in my raffle within my chat to jump in and do Access Challenge mode. And I was thinking, right, okay, can we get a 340, 350 through challenge mode? It might be a bit too difficult. But I said, okay, yeah, you can come in. So we got this dude in, and he didn't have a mic either. So it was pretty difficult. I couldn't communicate to him, and he had little understanding of what was going on. So through me explaining what was happening, he just nodded his head on screen or shook his head on screen, because I was communicating to him through my Twitch chat at the same time. So given that he would understand something, he'd shake his head or nod his head, whatever. And I just went through the whole, the idea, the mechanics of the encounter, and just through him shaking and nodding his head, we actually managed to get him through it and actually beat Access Challenge mode, which was funny. We didn't think it was going to happen. We said we'd give it a few tries, but based on the circumstances, we might not get through it. But he did really well.
You were like the guardian father lord when I was being with your team. You know, it was like very politely, like always trying to get people focusing on what needs to be focused on, or things will start going wrong. Even if they're just chatting to themselves and having a merry little conversation, you're always like diverting the attention onto the right, you know, moments, the right things to focus on in order to get things done successfully. And I think that's really what sets you apart. It was a really pleasant experience. Okay, next cue. All-time favourite subclass and loadout, and why?
I think I would have to go with Warlock, based on the fact that it was the character that I picked at launch, and it's the character that I've stuck with at launch. Yeah. This is difficult, because if I make the wrong decision here, I'll get crucified. I think I would have to say Voidwalker. You can use the super for taking out captains on Wrath of the Machine nice and quickly, easy. And then you've got the setup with scatter grenades and the nothing manacles, where you can essentially get infinite grenades, where it just refreshes your grenade cooldown when you get a kill with one. That kind of stuff. I think that's probably why I like it most. Stormcaller, I'm going to avoid commenting on.
I love it.
Self-res as well. Not bad, but those fusion nades, though, kind of puts it aside. But yeah, I think Voidwalker would be my favourite.
Okay, what about weapons and stuff like that, or exotic armors and stuff for your Voidwalker?
Straight up, I think I've got to say Icebreaker, because again, it was my first. Within the first week, when the loot cave was a thing, I got a legendary engram from it. My first legendary engram ever. I sort of went against the rule in year one. With year one, if you got a legendary engram, 80% of the time it was a rare. But with me, it was an exotic, and it was Icebreaker. And wow. You can ask Azupa, one of my good friends. He was there at the time, and he was like, wait, why is that yellow? We didn't really understand what was happening. And we didn't know what an exotic was at the time.
Someone pinch me.
Yeah, exactly. So I put it on and read all the perks out, and we were like, wait, it regens ammo? What? And then from there, I just got attached to it.
Certainly a popular weapon at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. PvP and PvE. Mm-hmm. As for armor, I think aesthetically, I would have to go for Light Beyond Nemesis. Just based on the fact that it looks pretty damn awesome. Its perks nice as well for PvP. If you're playing Trials, then that's just makes it even better. But for its looks, definitely Light Beyond Nemesis. I just love it. And then I think for utility, I would probably have to go with Nothing Manacles, just to couple up with the infinite grenade setup that I was speaking about earlier.
Do you have any specific, like, particular raid setups that you will always gravitate towards?
I have a very specific set that I use that makes the job a lot easier. The Trials Scout Rifle, currently the Burning Eye, that thing with accurized ballistics and explosive rounds selected one-shots the shanks within Wrath of the Machine, making the whole encounter 10 times easier. Then there's the Ex Machina, which is just insane for Fallen boss damage, as you know, it gets a bigger magazine, reloads faster when it's empty, and it deals extra damage to Fallen, so it's just perfect. And then I stick to Dark Drinker pretty much the entire way through the raid. For Wrath of the Machine specifically, I stick to self-res on Wrath of the Machine, rather oddly, but just based on the fact that if I'm ever left alone, if say a viewer is picked off or whatever, and I'm left alone, I will normally put myself in the position where I take more fire, but I'll have self-res, so if stuff goes wrong, I can just sort of get myself back up. But I run the RAM, so increased armor, and then I have a chest piece, which is increased armor with a solar subclass, and pretty much just pimp myself out as much as I can to the point where I'm just a tank with a Warlock class. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's worked pretty astoundingly, really. It is a bit sucky missing out on having a shutdown like super, like an overbomb. It would be really handy to have that, obviously, coming to captains. You can just shut them down instantly. But without that, you can deal with it. It's just a little bit harder.
And do you change the loadout for any of the other raids, or is this the loadout that wins in pretty much all of your situations that you find yourself in?
With Wrath of the Machine and King's Fall, that's pretty much my award-winning setup. But for Vault and Crota, currently, just based on the fact that their light level is lower, you can use pretty much whatever you want.
If you've been blessed with a magic wand and you could magically buff one weapon of your choice and also nerf a weapon of your choice, what would they be?
Is this from a PvE standpoint or a PvP standpoint?
Anything that you like. It's your magic wand. You can wave it as you please.
Oh, goodness. I would like the Kvostov to be buffed slightly. And one thing that Zupa always mentioned was that when you changed its fire rate, it should actually change to a pulse rifle or to a scout rifle or something like that, instead of it just being an auto rifle that fires like one bullet or something. It should have some sort of defining feature a bit more, and I think it would be used a lot more given that it was better than it currently is. It's kind of awful. And tied with that, I think I would have to say Black Spindle. It's great at the moment. I would just love to see it having the old white nail effect that the Black Hammer used to have, where 3 crits spawned you more ammo rather than taking it from your reserve. Yeah. I know that a ton of people are going to say that that's horrendously overpowered. I do agree. It's just, I used to love that so much.
Yeah. Just because it's overpowered doesn't mean it's not fun.
True. And then as for
what you slap in with a nerf hammer,
there's not really anything that stands out to me that needs a nerf. There's specific sort of classes of weapons, like sidearms right now need some sort of a change, which they're going to be getting soon.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's a specific weapon that I think, that has to go.
Is there any advice or entry-level tips that you could offer for a newcomer to the Destiny game?
Yes. Make use of the third-party apps and all of that lovely stuff that people from the community have made. It's exceedingly helpful. We've got apps like DIM, Ishtar Commander for your phone. DIM is great for just transferring everything. It's fantastic.
That's Destiny Item Manager for anyone who doesn't know the abbreviation, isn't it?
Yes, I probably shouldn't be assuming people know what it means.
Well,
it's a Chrome extension. Yeah, true.
Okay then, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitch over at twitch.tv/HaydnOSmith. Pretty simplistic spelling. Twitter is exactly the same, just HaydnOSmith. I don't have a YouTube currently that I am sort of nurturing. It's there and it exists, but it has, I think, one video on it that I used for someone
You're all about the live,
YouTube isn't really my thing currently. It's I like being able to interact with people. That's my forte. And we do have a Discord server as well that you can find through my Twitch, which is great to jump into. You can interact with all of us, all of our raid people, and we have an LFG sort of group on there as well. So if you are looking for stuff to do or people to help you with stuff to do, you can jump in there and find your way.
Ladies and gents, massive round of applause for Hayden. Thank you very much indeed for stepping into the Guardian hot seat and having a good sit down and a good chin wag there. Huge round of applause there. We will definitely look at getting Hayden onto the Planet Destiny podcast at some point in the near future, perhaps when we've had a chance to sink our teeth into Age of Triumph. In the meantime though, folks, it's goodbye from me and it's goodbye from Hayden.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope to see you over on my channel for raid help, stuff like that. It's been a pleasure, and I will catch you later.